Ladies and gentlemen, another weekend in the NFL has passed, and with it, many things that we as Americans can be extremely thankful for. But let's take a step away from our own selfish appreciation for gridiron fisticuffs and redirect our focus towards something more polite, like Canada. It's Canadian Thanksgiving, a time for them to give thanks, then immediately apologize for not being good enough. Rested upon America's brow, Canada's Thanksgiving isn't so different than yours or mine. Families gather together in elastic pants to argue politics, share very awkward, uncomfortable stories, and then eat way too much. But did you know we also have a universal love for football? With teams like the Montreal Alouettes and the Toronto Argonauts, no, these aren't cheeses. These are teams. They're playing on this year's Canadian Thanksgiving. The Canadian Football League is just that one step closer to sitting at the adults' table. In order to hasten the process, I'm here to show all Canadians what it takes to be a pro in the NFL. Okay, the first thing our friends on the 38th parallel need to know is this. The NFL is a lot like Canadian hockey, or as America calls it, figure skating. The tight outfits, enthusiastic fans, and the ability to do a cross-foot spin, all essential components to a victory. Charles Woodson, for instance, has been practicing his for nearly 18 years, and in doing so has finally perfected his form and was able to intercept Peyton Manning twice on Sunday. Although practice is key, a large part of being a pro relies on being physically fit. And as I'm sure all pros would attest, there is no better way to stay in shape than with a good old-fashioned thigh master. Put in a position to catch a wild ball from Josh McCown, tight end Gary Barnidge leaps into action over Ravens safety Will Hill to make an incredible thigh catch, placing the Browns ahead of the Ravens 33-30. That was truly a catch that could only have been made by a master. But even with all the training and commitment of a master, sometimes being a pro simply comes down to being in the right place at the right time. It's similar to a buy one, get one free sale at Tim Hortons. Robert Alford was at the right place at the right time this past Sunday, intercepting Kirk Cousins in overtime in the Georgia Dome to beat the Redskins 25-19, pushing the Falcons to an undefeated 5-0 record. So as you can see, Canada, you aren't that far off. And if you take into account all you've learned here today, you'll be one step closer to becoming a real league. And in the spirit of Canadian Thanksgiving, we as Americans feel your thanks should not be directed towards your loved ones or your countrymen, but rather toward us for taking the time to share our knowledge of a national pastime. You're welcome, Canada, and may your feasts be ever bountiful and your football remain ever so friendly. Go, Eskimos! I can't wait to read the comments from Canadians on this.